Welcome. Take it up with Jessica Lee. I'm here with Jeff Romano, who is the Senior Vice President of Global Customer Success at 8x8.
Hello. Hi, Jessica. It's great to be here.
Hi, Jeff. I hear that you're doing very well, and there's a huge trend going on with the UCaaS and contact center space. Wanted to welcome you here. Give us an understanding of what's happening at 8x8.
Well, so 8x8, we've been around for a while. We're about a 20-year-old company, and we are today 1,600 people in 6 countries. We've got over 1 million users, about 50,000 customers, and we are now the pioneer in actually a single platform for merging UCaaS and CCaaS contact center into one integrated solution.
I see. So you're seeing the trend of that coming together?
What we're seeing, and we've validated this with our own customer base, is that voice and messaging and video and contact center are really coming together, because what these companies want to do is they want to get their customers closer to all of the employees in the company, not just the employees in the contact center. So for example, if somebody reaches in to get some technical support and they reach the contact center, but the agents need help from somebody elsewhere in the company, that's where things move from the contact center to like the rest of the employee base. And that's where the whole telephony side and the contact center side start to merge. We're seeing requirements for that, and we actually have a perfect technology for that because we own the entire stack. We own the telephony stack, we own the messaging, we own the contact center. It's one of the things that differentiates us from some of our competitors.
So explain that a bit, because you hear about UCaaS and there are a lot of players in it, but if you get down to the technology, how is that different than what you're saying, one platform versus not one platform?
Yeah, so a lot of companies, like for example RingCentral, they own their own technology for the telephony side of it, but they resell Zoom for video conferencing and they resell InContact for contact center. We don't do that. Well, we have the entire end-to-end platform that's owned, and we've owned that technology since the beginning. And because of that, we have a platform that's owned, just have better customer service around it, and we have better technical support. Just makes a difference. The experience for the customer is actually different.
I see. So the data is completely in one platform versus you have to integrate and make sure you see the data from one to the next. If you're doing a technology alliance.
That's definitely a big part of it.
Okay.
And then also just the seamless integration just makes integrating with third-party systems easier. It's just a much better, easier, more deployable solution for everyone.
Okay. Well, let's talk about customer success. That's your area of expertise. What do you own in customer success?
So I own broadly all of the post-sale functions, including implementation and support. But customer success is the one that really is the most important to me, because what that means for us, especially being a software as a service, and being dependent on subscriptions, is it gives us the ability to create a more connected experience for the customer. One of the things that we see a lot with software companies is everything from the customer perspective can seem just too transactional. So for example, you send out an RFP, you find a platform, you buy a platform, you sign a contract, transaction's over. Then you have to put together a project, do an implementation, you go live, that transaction's over. Once you're live, you might have an issue, you call tech support, you get the case resolved, end of transaction. So it's really a series of transactions is what life is like with a software company. So what we've done with customer success, it's more than just the onboarding and the renewal. We've actually used the customer success team to connect all those experiences together. So we look at the customer success managers in the customer success model as a way to take all those transactions and connect it all together and shepherd the customer through that entire life cycle. And so they have a more connected feeling to 8x8. And they actually appreciate that because we feel more like a partner throughout. They have a single point of contact throughout the entire life cycle experience. And that's really what our customers go for.
Okay. Let's talk about who these customers are. You're going through this shift in which you used to target the SMB, and now you're targeting a lot of enterprise players. Why is there a shift like that, and how are you dealing with the changes in the targets?
So why did that happen? And it's been happening for the last few years. But 8x8, like many companies in UCaaS, started selling to small businesses. Actually, started selling to residential customers and then moved to small business.
Wow. Okay.
And most of our customer base still is small. But as cloud telephony started to mature and people, larger companies started to get more confidence in the reliability of it, get more confidence in the security, they've decided to move their telephony platforms to the cloud. So larger companies like Regis or McKesson or Office Depot have decided that they can, really make that leap to cloud. Whereas before they were really dependent on on-premise PBXs, which are come at a very high cost because they thought that was the only way they could get the reliability and the only way they could get the security. So as these customers grew more confident in the solution, we were able to sell to more enterprise customers. So that, of course, changed everything for us.
Yes.
It wasn't just changing the go-to-market, it changed how we actually service them.
Yes.
Because with small businesses, the buyer, the IT staff, and the users are all the same person.
Okay.
With enterprise, you're dealing with 3 different departments. And when you're dealing with 3 different departments, trying to foster the right level of adoption just takes a lot more work and a lot more touch. And that's where customer success comes in. Because we don't just work with the sponsor or the person who wrote the check. We work with the end users. We work with the IT staff. We make sure that the implementation goes smoothly. We make sure that they get the training they need. We make sure that the users really like the system, that they adopt it. And as their business changes, we stay on top of that and see if there's opportunities to provide more services and more technology. And that's an upsell opportunity for us, as well as just a better opportunity for the customer.
Do you have to create the content that educates the prospects, onboarding, and all the materials?
So we do. We actually have a whole onboarding program that we've created for our customers, and it does differ whether they're enterprise or mid-market or small business. It can be a high-touch or low-touch onboarding process. But we've created some of our own content, and we've also leveraged third-party tools like Gainsight, Salesforce, which we use quite extensively. And we also use those to get metrics. We use those to really understand some of the leading indicators of the health of the customer around support case volumes, around minutes of usage, around billing trends, just things that can really help us understand what's going on at the customer site.
And what challenges do you face now that you're targeting enterprise? It's a longer sales cycle, there are multiple personas.
It is a longer sales cycle, and we are dealing with a lot more people, so things will take a lot more time. But honestly, one of our biggest challenges, just as a company that's growing quite a bit, is just finding people, just recruiting. We need to get a bigger customer success team, just like we need to get more salespeople. We need to get more support people. And we are based in Silicon Valley, but we have offices all over the world. And we opened up a new office in Minneapolis recently to try to expand our recruiting base. We're looking at other U.S. cities to do that. But our biggest challenge has just been getting the people to keep up with the growth.
So you have 40 people and you're recruiting, right? So
in customer success alone, there's about 40 people, and we are recruiting more. So
okay, good. So what do you look for?
So send me your resumes.
Yeah, what do you look for in a customer success manager?
Yeah, so ideally we want someone that's done the role before. Someone that understands how to do upsells, how to go after renewals, how to understand customer satisfaction and the whole lifecycle management of that. So we look for that, but also I just look for people that are highly motivated and actually really are engaging with the customers. Metrics are important. It's important to hit the numbers, the renewal numbers. It's important to hit the churn numbers. But actually, it was Albert Einstein who said, "Not everything that counts can be counted, and not everything that can be counted truly counts." So there is sort of that aspect, sort of the soft aspect of the customer relationship. So I look for people that can really understand that.
Okay.
As well as the metrics.
And there's certain markets that you're growing a lot more, like in Europe and Australia. And so you're recruiting for people locally in those markets?
We are. In fact, one of the things I'm really excited about with 8x8 is how much we're growing in Europe and how much we're growing in Australia, because UCaaS is really starting to take off in those geographies. So we are looking for customer success people there, and as we are looking for lots of different roles there. And it's we are truly a global company, and it's just making life a lot more interesting.
And now, in order to optimize the operation, like scale the operation, you're going to have to leverage like automation and processes and maybe self-service options. Yeah,
definitely a big part of it. So I mentioned some of the tools we use, like Salesforce and Gainsight. When you have a customer base as diverse as ours is, where you have the enterprise at the very high end that requires very high touch, and we can actually provide a high touch because they pay us larger subscription fees. There's also the small business that, we can't really touch 50,000 customers. So that's where the automation comes in. So we use tools like Gainsight to help us, capture data and, get these churn predictors or these customer health predictors that will allow us to, on an exception basis, react to things that might be going on at the customer side. Our retention is pretty good. At the enterprise side, we had, annually we have a 3% or less churn rate. On the small business side, it's higher because that's by the nature of that business. It's typically higher, but
Right.
we're doing a much better job than we have been. And there's been some big improvements there.
Are there certain KPIs you want to improve? Is there a mission
Everything.
to?
Yeah, we're always trying to improve the churn rate. There was a big push over the last year to improve NPS. And I won't talk about the number because we haven't published it yet. But I'll say this: we went from a very negative number to a very positive number in the last 6 months, and a lot of it was just due to using some of these tools that would give us a better sense for where the problems were, and then addressing those problems.
Oh, that's good to know. You've been in tech for 28 years, and you've worked at a lot of big companies, even consulting at one point. So I want to ask for your career tips.
So I have a few. You mentioned the big companies, and one thing I'll say is if you're first starting out, definitely work for a big company first. I think a lot of people, they get out of school, I studied engineering, they get out of engineering school, they want to work for a startup, and they want to work for, the place where they think they'll, get some kind of, big payday. I can tell you that there is much more advantages to working for a big company. I would encourage people to start with a large company, learn as much as you can, get trained as much as you can, get that life experience, and then move to the startup. So that's definitely one thing. The other one is really about, I had the opportunity to live overseas for 3 years. I lived in Singapore, and I always tell people, if you have the opportunity to live outside of the U.S., you should do it. And there are a lot of reasons for that. One of them is when you're that far away from headquarters, you don't have the support network that you would have if you were close to headquarters. So you're forced to make a lot of decisions on your own because the time zone's not right to talk to somebody over there. You can't get the people that you need available at the right time. So you become scrappy and you become innovative, and it really gives you the opportunity to just grow a lot. And I can tell you, my Singapore experience was like that. Then of course you get to work with people that do business in other cultures, and that's a fascinating experience as well. And the last thing I would say is take small risks. Take a small risk, fail quickly, fix the problem, learn from it, then take a bigger risk.
Okay.
Getting to a certain point, getting to a success in your career is just a series of successively higher risk taking. That's what I found.
Excellent. So this is some of the best practices you want to share how to turn that around?
So, actually, the thing that we realized when it comes to NPS, one of the things that we noticed, and this fascinated me actually, is we had a lot of customers that really liked us, but they would not respond to the survey. So we didn't have an issue with a lot of detractors. We had an issue where the cheerleaders weren't speaking up. So part of that was using these tools and using the customer success program to identify the cheerleaders and just get them to fill out the survey. They had not been doing that before.
How did you get them to fill out? How did you motivate them?
Starbucks gift cards. There's all
okay.
kinds of things like that. And, it's not like we were bribing them for a good score, but we just wanted to get their feedback.
Right.
And we wanted everybody's feedback. We wanted the good and the bad.
Right.
And that's what we got. We got the good and the bad. But it turns out that the customers, they like us a lot more than the original score indicated.
I see. Oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, Jeff, to share
Thanks,
about
Jessica.
this. And I know the market is changing, though. There's constant innovation happening. And I wish you best of luck with recruiting and growing your team.
Thank you. It's been great to be here.
Thank you very much. There you have it, folks. Take it up with Jessica Lee, Jeff Romano from 8x8.